predictions of Edgar Cayce. In fact, I spoke at the 100th anniversary of Edgar Cayce's birth. And 2 years ago at Mount Adams, we had to, give a statement. I gave a statement that really, I had put this meme out there with that book, which was in all the airport bookstores, and we were on mainstream television in the US and Canada, published in Japan. I put out a meme there, which many others had copied and propagated. We Are the Earthquake Generation books, and all of that came from the seed of this book that I had put out. And the vision, which I projected at Mount Adams, you can go on the internet and see the Mount Adams statement, is that in fact, we're not going into a cataclysmic period, but we're going into a very positive period. That's the factual reality, because we actually manufacture the reality that we're transiting through. And it's nothing like the past. There's no reason why the past should be like the future, or why the future should be like the past. So I think that what I'm doing over the next year is really trying to be as positive as possible in projecting as much light as I can into this dimension. On Tuesday night, I'm leaving for Asia. In 3 weeks, I'll be in Europe, in Barcelona, speaking on extraterrestrials and the afterlife. If we look at the afterlife dimension, it's where really all of these dimensions merge into a dimensional ecology, and the afterlife is very much like being an extraterrestrial. And just trying to bring to this planet as much enlightenment and upward motion of the vibration as possible. And I predict that over the next year, we will start coming to prominence in the mainstream, and our ideas will. And that this is part of the changeover and the transformation. So I don't think we should look at ourselves as an oppressed minority, but rather as feeding the entirety of the human community. And thank you. With that, I'd like to pass it to Rebecca.
Okay, before that happens, does someone have the time? Because we have limited time in this room. 11 o'clock, okay. I'm sorry? 11 o'clock, right? 11:11. All right. The ET, the witching hour, the ET hour.
All right. Well, threats. I'm sorry. Bill? Thank you. Threats and opportunities. I see things all the time. Matter of fact, Carrie and Bill had me on over some visionary work that happens to me arbitrarily. And not necessarily are the visions pretty. And you can get yourself concerned about that. You can get yourself worked up about that. You can get yourself all in a state of, shall we say the word, fear. And it serves no purpose. It really does not serve any purpose. But what it does make me do is to question these visions. So they are a potential. They are a possibility. There's nothing written in stone. There's nothing here that says this is the definitive path in which humanity is going to make its choices, because it is the planet of free will choice. So over the next year, however, I do see trials and tribulations. How we experience those trials and tribulations will depend on whether or not we look at them as trials and tribulations or as opportunities to change what no longer works. There are a lot of things about the way this world is run that's actually a pretty good thing. It's got a basis of goodness. It's got a basis of working well for the masses. And there's a lot of things in there that's been manipulated and changed and convoluted, and it serves no higher purpose. Not for me, not for you, and not for the masses. Not if you want to live in a planet of choice, not if you want to live on a planet that has free energy, that the peoples are not enslaved. And we've done that to ourselves, so we have to take accountability for that. But over the next year, there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of potential for both disasters and a lot of potentials for opportunities for growth. And what I've been told over and over again by my guides, by those that I communicate with, is how you perceive your reality is what you will make. I have tried very, very hard to change these visions that I have and say, I don't like that outcome. I'm going to change it. And it's timeline jumping. It's a perspective. It's a new gift for me to be able to actually be in a situation, and I've been playing with it. It's actually been kind of fun. Been playing with it. Have an argument as an example with somebody. And you're looking at that, you're going, this is not a pleasant situation. So you change your perspective in that moment, and that argument doesn't exist. Absolutely fascinating. Potential is enormous. So 2 years ago, I was one of those that was collecting food, collecting water. I was preparing. Now I have no stockpile of water, no stockpile of food, and I am extremely fluid and in motion. That is what I have been told, and that's the message that I'm trying to share with people, is to be fluid. Fluidity, because this is the time of change and transformation, is, for many people, will help them to get through these changes that are imminent. They're just imminent. They will happen. How they happen for you is how your perception is going to be. And as a collective whole, what we do. Thank you. Mr. Jordan, I am looking at you. I'm looking at you.
Well, I'm not a prophet, so I don't know what the future holds, but I have a friend in Los Angeles, a young man who was so extraordinary in his abilities. I've come across a lot of interesting people in my life, but this young man is really, there's no words to explain what I feel about him. He's able to tell me things which are going to happen and gives me dates and where it's going to happen. And so he said to me about 2 years ago, he said, watch what's coming. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. The banks are going to go totally under. People are going to be losing their homes. They're going to be out in the street, and it's going to be chaos. It's going to be this very serious banking problems. It's going to go around the world, but it's really going to hit here in America. And he says, so watch when it happens. And it's going to be very, very severe. But the bankers and the guys who are in charge are not making it happen. It's a natural phenomena that's going to happen. It's like what goes around comes around. And so he said to me, but watch about October and November. This is like 2 years ago. He said, watch about October, November of 2009. It's going to be leveling out and business will start to pick up again. And he says, so what looks like it could be total catastrophe, and it will be, but it won't destroy everything. It's going to start leveling out about October, November of 2009. This is 2 years ago. And so now I'm hearing that France and Germany is saying it's coming out from the mess that was going on. So I am just telling you what this young man has said to me, and he's been right every time he's ever said anything to me. So I tend to feel that maybe as bad as it's, you know, has been, and it's not going to be wonderful. Like you said, it's not going to be wonderful, but it's not going to collapse